Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 64 of the Post 20 podcast. My name is Evan. I am joined, as always, by my co host, Matt. What's going on this week, Matt?
Lots of snow. We're really in the thick of the winter right now. We were talking in the pre-show about it, slipping and sliding on all the slushy ice out there, but keeping up with the Prem and continually losing money every week. Keep going deeper in the hole.
Yeah, I've been trying to take a break. It's not working. It's not a great break for me. I've bet I think 4 of 5 days of the break so far. So I don't know if you could even classify it as that. Um, what spurred it for me was FanDuel has this thing called the 3x2 or the 2x3. It's
Oh
it's an
God.
NBA boost anyway. You pick a game, and as long as there's 3 3-point field goals made in the first 2 minutes of an NBA game, it's you make it. And I think it's a plus 150 or plus 100. I don't know. If you bet 50, you make 50. So I was like, oh, this is a lock. Like it's Suns Nets. This is a lock, bro. Both of those teams shoot hella threes. I mean, it didn't happen. I mean, they let Tyler Johnson shoot all the threes, and the kid is fucking brick. He couldn't make
Yeah,
he couldn't make anything. He's horrendous.
yeah.
Yeah,
I had a parlay on that game too. I was short on two. I had I had Chris Paul 8 assists. He ended on 7. I had Harden on 12 assists. He ended on 11, and then my other things
horrible.
hit. Yeah.
And it was just absolutely tragic. It made me so mad. And I was just sitting there like texting in my group chat. I was like, why? Like, why do I do this? What made me think that putting money I didn't even have to put money in there. I had money in there. What made me think that this was a good bet? Like this was a good choice. The odds of 3 3-point field goals going in just the first 2 minutes of a game, not that great. But the fact that somebody earlier on or 2 weeks ago said the 3x2 is always a lock, just I was like, oh, I mean, of course it's a lock. It's a mortal lock. Of course it's gonna happen, and it just didn't. And I'm just fed up with like that shit because let's say like you put $50 in, right? You put
Yeah.
$50 in 2 or 3 times a week. If you're having a bad week, $150 if you deposit 3 times. That $150, if you take it at the end of every week, let's say you're a shitty better, because I know a lot of people out there are shitty betters. I'm not a
Yeah.
great better, but I'm a positive better. All time, I'm a couple grand up. So let's say you're a shitty better and you burn 150 every week. If you add that all together over the course of a year,
Jesus.
it's a ton of money.
You're losing 600 a month times that by 12 at
Yeah,
$7,200 a year.
it's 7 grand a year. And I mean, I know plenty of people that are doing that. I know plenty. I could probably name you 5 or 6 people that are doing that, and
What's
not people with
I think
jobs, bro. People that work jobs, not people that work jobs in the summertime, and
Oh yeah.
and they're like, oh, I don't have any money. Like, I'll call someone. You want to play golf? I don't have any money. Oh, why don't you have money? Oh, well, I gambled it on the Nets and Suns. Oh, okay, that's not me. I'd rather have my money
Yeah.
and spend it on actual concrete physical things. I think gambling is fun. I think it's, for a couple bucks here or there. And I think parlays really are what do it for me. But
Yeah.
like, oh my God, some people are actually addicted.
Yeah, I've watched a couple videos recently about you have to be strict with your bankroll, and
Yeah.
they use the rule like don't bet over 5% of your bankroll because then you just get out of hand, and you
Yeah.
can't bet everything on one thing. Even if it's a short thing, you got to cover your ass.
The science behind gambling is very, very interesting. And I do think that the strategies that you have to employ to be a successful bettor are actually just rooted in mathematics. And
Yeah.
the guys that are strict and stingy with their units, and this is a max play, this is a 1 unit play, this is a 4 unit play. You'll see tipsters and things like that giving them out, for free on Twitter and Instagram and whatever. But the guys that are really good sports handicappers, they make a lot of money because there is a science behind it. I choose to bet with my balls instead of my brain, and I think most of us do that. But it's an interesting thing. I think I'm glad that New Jersey has sports betting because it is fun and it does add another dimension when you're watching sports. I'm really glad we have it here.
Yeah, it's so new and it's in its early infancy where it's slowly making its way across the country in every state. And I think once it's all the way around like 50 states, it's gonna be crazy because I mean, there's still times where like you travel and you go to place a bet, you're like, oh, here we go, and then like this, it's not legal in that state, and it's kind of like a buzzkill
Hmm. Yeah.
because you're talking about doing your tour in the South.
Yeah, so the nice thing, I okay, well, I'll get into that actually now. Um, the nice thing about being in the South, though, is a lot of those states you can use books that are located in other places. Like Bovada is one. If you're in Florida, you can use Bovada because it's not against Florida laws to use a legally registered book that operates in another place. It's just illegal to bet in Florida at a Florida book because there are no Florida books. Um, but the South thing that we were talking about, I have made the decision um, that in the fall I will be traveling the American South. I think it's either going to be the South or I'm going to go Southwest, maybe like Arizona, hit Texas on the way, those states, or I'm just going to stay in like the Southeast corridor, um, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and kind of travel around the states and document my trip and play as much golf at as many courses as I possibly can. Um, I need a break. I need a break so badly right now, and I'm not going to be able to give myself that break, or at least as long as I would like to. So I'm going to try and get away a little bit here soon. But this fall, when I am only taking a course or two courses and am right on the brink of graduating, I have made the decision that I will be going on a trip and, making content, being just trying to get myself into a creative mindset and make myself feel better because I mean being locked up here and doing what we've had to do for the past however many months, just sit and grind and not get to enjoy anything essentially, um, has been detrimental to my mental health, my physical health, and I think to a lot of people's. Um, and I feel compelled to make this trip and do this thing and make myself happy again. And I think that it will provide very interesting content. And I don't know if anybody's gonna want to watch it or if anybody will even think about watching it. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it, and I'm really excited. Actually, I'm very excited, and yeah, I think it'd be a cool thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I want to try to do the same thing, but I mean, when you're recording and everything, it's more about you enjoying that you're doing it rather than wanting other people to enjoy watching it.
Yeah, of
That'll
course.
come if you really love like love the whole process and like what you're doing, then other people will see that and they'll like it just because of how much effort you put into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that I could brand it for the show, like within the show. You know what I mean? I think it
Yeah.
could 100% just be a post 20 series because that's what it is. The very core, the inception of this show was centered around what life was like after 20, and that's part of why we still haven't changed the name. We've thought about changing the name, but I'm kind of still there. I mean, like I'm kind of still stuck on it because right now this is what our life is post 20. And although it
Yeah.
may be a little depressing or it may not be quite what we had hoped, it is truthful. This is how, life has been for us. And, post the year 2020, that's still this is what it is. It's ironic that we kind of started, and have most of our show's existence within that year of 2020. We started right at that crazy polarizing time.
Yep.
So yeah, I wanted to let everybody in on that. Um, I was inspired by there's a lot of different like independent filmmakers and guys that make their own documentaries and I just I don't know. All that creativity is so far gone for me right now that I think taking time, resetting, getting back to what I like to do, what I love to do, um, will be really kind of enriching, you know?
Hmm.
Okay, let us get to the football, since that is, after all, what we mostly discuss on this show. Match day 24 proved to be rather eventful. Leicester City toppled Liverpool. Manchester City came through for us. Wolves eked out a win against Southampton. And Arsenal had an excellent showing against Leeds. We're going to start off chronicling the Leicester City Liverpool game, which was, for me, just pure comedy. I mean, it was the best game of the week. What's wrong with Alisson? What in the fucking world happened to Alisson?
I don't know, man. I don't know whether like there's something going on with him at home, if he's having trouble in the bedroom. Like I don't know.
I
Like
was
it
gonna
could
say,
be
did he
anything.
walk in on his wife getting railed by some other guy? What is going on?
I don't know. It's something, but there were other people that could be blamed for this too. The defense fell asleep the last 10 minutes of the game was where it was lost. I mean, it all started with that Madison, was it a penalty, free kick, and they
Yeah.
ended up making it a free kick. So then it was like, okay, they still have a chance, and then Madison absolutely puts a banger in, and it just rolled downhill from there.
This game was 0-0 going into halftime. The first goal wasn't scored until the 67th minute. Liverpool went into the 70th minute leading 1-0, and they looked like they had started to put it together. In the span of 8 minutes, something entirely switched, because in those 8 minutes before Leicester scored their first goal, Liverpool were very shaky. And it looked like after they came out from the half that they had kind of solidified things. And something switched. And you could see as soon as Leicester scored that first goal that something happened in Klopp's mind too, because he was livid. He was screaming at his players. You could tell how fucking angry he was. And Klopp is going through some personal issues that, my heart goes out to him, because truly, being able to travel for Europa League or for Champions League games, not being able to travel home to see your mother's funeral, I just think is disgraceful. And I feel for him, but you can tell that there is an issue. There is some sort of dynamic that has been stressed between Klopp and his team, and just the minute that Madison scored, things went downhill. Vardy added another 3 minutes later in the 81st, and Barnes added, the nail in the coffin in the 85th. That Liverpool defense was just getting carved. And I know James Madison and Vardy and Barnes, all three of them are quick and really scrappy and sharp players, but Liverpool's entire squad isn't that bad. That shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't be collapsing as a team of their caliber like that, regardless of what's going on with injuries. And it was hilarious to me. I'm glad. I was tired of listening to Liverpool say, "We're gonna win the CL. We're gonna win the league." You're not winning either. Your team's fucking shit.
Yeah, they conceded after this result, saying that their defense was over. Was this Quebec's full debut, like his first start?
Yeah, it was, and he didn't look great, but I don't think you can necessarily pin this on him.
Right.
TAA has been absolutely exposed. I mean, he is a fraud. He is
Well,
a
he's never been
actual
a.
fraud.
I mean, even when he was in his prime, he's never been a defense first kind of guy. It's all
Right.
about his delivery in the box and getting into pockets of space that modern fullbacks nowadays use to their advantage. But defense is not his thing, and when he has a informed winger like how Harvey Barnes is playing right now, it's pretty hard for him to match up with that.
Right. But here's the thing. The reason that TAA and Robbo both were so effective last year was because it took a long time for teams to adapt to that cross and drag style, right? And
Yeah.
now that teams have figured that out, adapted to it, they're not effective anymore. And if they can't adapt and become better defensive players, then they have no value in this Liverpool team.
I think I
And
made this point last time. It was like they don't see they can take as much freedoms knowing they don't have Van Dyke back there to cover for them.
perhaps.
I don't know. There's a lot of different things you can attribute it to, but yeah, like you said, they are getting exposed. And I mean, we both predicted them to finish top four, but at this rate, they might not even make top six.
They could slip down. Other teams are starting to look sharp again, and or Liverpool looked really good against Leipzig last night, but I don't know about their form in the Premier League. It seems like they're just due for more slips and slips until they get some normalcy back in their defense, which I don't know when that will be.
They got 3 straight losses in the league.
Yeah, and two of those losses are at home, I think.
Yeah,
So
to City and Brighton.
yeah, it's really crazy. This was a very eventful game. That those last 20 minutes were just electric.
Hmm.
When Leicester are on and Leicester are potent and Vardy is on the pitch, man, they are so entertaining to watch. And I watched 90 minutes of when Vardy isn't on the pitch today versus Slavia Prague, and the difference is night and day.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We have Crystal Palace 0, Burnley 3. This is the second time that Burnley has scored 3 goals this season, I believe.
It is.
And I bet against Burnley. I cannot pick a fixture that Burnley is involved in right for my life. If you had a gun to my head and made me pick it, I would die because I'm just picking the wrong one every time. I don't think I'll pick a right one for the rest of the season. I was on Burnley early. They did it once for me, and then I bet on them again. And ever since then, I just have been on the opposite side of the coin every single time.
Yeah, I mean, the game was won in the first 10 minutes. They grabbed 2 early goals, and Crystal Palace just couldn't adapt. The coaching staff for Palace was confused with how they went down so early, and the commentators I was listening to it, they were making a good point, saying that they're out of the FA Cup, the League Cup, they're not in Europe, so and they're looking to be a mid-table side, like they're not going to be able to push for anything. So maybe the players don't see any reason to have to like try hard. I don't know. I don't think that's the right mentality to have, and I don't know if that's entirely true, but there's just something about those players, they just don't have the motivation to push on to the in these games when they go behind.
Well, they lack a skill, I would say. Burnley are good because they're gritty and they're
Yeah.
defensively very strong. But they do lack the ability to, like you said, kind of well up that confidence going forward. And when you go down, then that only makes that harder. So I think that's really where the issue is. Jay Rodriguez is one of your most technically skilled players, and that's that's really saying something.
Yeah, I mean, he has 2 goals the last 2 games for them, so or he got 1 goal and 2 assists.
Oh yeah, I don't. I'm not trying to slate his skills. I think he's actually a good player, but he's not. He's not necessarily technically like he's not one
He's
of
not
those
like
wingers or forwards that you're thinking of like Eze or Zaha. You know what I mean?
yeah, he's not explosive.
Yeah, he's not going to give you a worldie. He's been around for a while now. He was at Southampton back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I've been watching him for quite a few years. You know what you can expect from Jay Rodriguez, and he has been consistent this year. But he's one of their best players, and they don't have much else. So I wasn't expecting a 3-0 result here, especially with Burnley being the one scoring 3. I thought maybe Palace would eke this out, but I was wrong. Um, good fun match, especially the first half.
I just saw this stat before we move on for Crystal Palace. It says Crystal Palace have lost 18 of their last 20 Premier League games in which Wilfred Zaha hasn't played, with the Eagles failing to score in 16 of those 18 defeats. So,
Jesus.
so next week they play Brighton. Brighton's a pretty decent team right now. They have 5 clean sheets in their last 6. So,
Well, how about that? Interesting
oh,
stat.
mhm,
Next match. I'm not really going to have much to say here. This is kind of what we expected to happen. Manchester City
yeah,
3, Tottenham 0. We were both on City here. We didn't think that their run would end here, but we did acknowledge that Tottenham had beaten them earlier on in the season. It seems like, from the last time City and Tottenham played, the two teams have switched roles. I think Tottenham was in second place or top of the table when that happened, and City were all the way down towards 11th. So now City being in first and Tottenham being further down towards sixth or seventh, they've switched their roles around a bit. And I mean, all I have to say is I don't see City stopping at all. I just cannot see it. I don't know how you beat this team right now.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, Gundogan, take a bow, son. You
He's
just made it
just
look too easy.
how about it, dude? He's unreal. He's having, I said last week, career resurgence. This is the best I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, now on the year, he's got 11 goals, 2 assists. He's got more goals now than Suchek, and he's up there with Bruno.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ederson got an assist as well in the game. So he's getting more assists than most players in the league now.
It's so crazy, dude. Ederson's ability to get the ball up there to players that are looking for it is so impressive too. His accuracy is unreal. It's
I
really
mean,
really cool.
he's the outright number one goalkeeper for Brazil in my mind. Alisson too, obviously with what's going on recently. But and he needs to carry this for him because they'll have the Copa America soon, and then carrying on into World Cup qualifiers.
Dude, you could dig up Dida's corpse and play it in goal, and it would be better than Alisson right now. Seriously,
So true.
he's horrible. It's crazy. I would be sick watching. Like as a Liverpool fan, I would be sick watching him right now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say Tottenham just they can't figure it out right now.
No,
Mourinho just doesn't have faith in his players anymore, and the system he wants to use it doesn't work with these players, and I don't think he's gonna have enough time to. He's not gonna be given enough time to bring in the players he wants before he gets sacked. So I think after this season, if Tottenham doesn't finish top six, I think they Mourinho gets sacked. I'll
I
say
do
that
too.
now.
And I think that they're going to be absolutely sick watching what Pochettino's doing with that PSG team, who arguably have well, they've got more they have more quality just because they have Mbappe and Neymar, but outside of those two, I mean, what else do they have? Nothing crazy.
I mean, they had that up and coming Xavi Simmons they got from the Barcelona Academy, 17
Yeah,
center mid, but that's for a couple years. But I mean, Mbappe grabbed a hat trick in the Champions League, touched on that, made it look easy against Barcelona. They were without Neymar, who's been out with injury.
yeah.
Mbappe is just insane,
He's
man.
unreal. He's like R9 except better. He's quicker. He's
And he
just I don't see
he's
anyone ever being as good talented as he is.
and he's very professional. Like
Yeah.
he's not like Neymar at times where he's kind of like a showsman and that. I mean, he can have little glimpses of it, but he's a very humble guy it seems like, and he just moves on to the next game, which is nice to see. I mean, he's won literally everything except the Champions League at this top point.
Yeah. And I don't know if we're gonna see him. I saw today that Fabrizio Romano, probably the most notable transfer um, reporter and just a football reporter in general, said today like he sees no reason why Mbappe would ever leave PSG. I do think that there's reasons why he would leave PSG, especially because I think he's a competitive player and he wants to win other trophies.
Right.
Um, but yeah,
I,
I think Tottenham would be sick seeing letting Pochettino go and being stuck with Mourinho, who just Mourinho's a cancer at this point in his career.
he can't stay at a club for more than 2 to 3 seasons before things just turn out to be shit.
Right, he makes these clubs erupt though. Like think about what happened to Chelsea and think about what happened at United. Like it's bad.
First year's good. Wasn't it his first season with United? They won the Europa League.
Yeah, and his first season back with Chelsea, they won the league.
Yeah, and
But
then the
after
second
that,
season,
it gets really bad.
yeah, teams just figure things out and they adapt, and
Right.
he just can't adapt. His ways are he doesn't change with the times. It's like his thing. So and plus, like we said before, like the players don't fit his system and how it works. Like
Yeah.
he's used to having a John Terry, a Lampard, SC, and like he's used to those types of players that don't have aren't big drama queens. They listen to what the manager says and they do their best to carry out his orders. Where nowadays it's like if you're not meeting certain player demands, then they're not going to perform to their best abilities, and
Yeah.
you're the guy taking the bullets for it because it's easier to get rid of the manager rather than get rid of the player.
Yeah. And I saw today like Ibrahimovic said like I would follow Mourinho into war. Like I would do anything he told me because that's just how players used to be back then. And I know
Yeah,
it like Ibra's still playing and it's not like it was that long ago that he was good, but even in the time from Ibra's prime to now, the player coach dynamic has changed so much, and it's all sports. It's not just soccer. Um, so that has something to do with it. Mourinho was a leader of men, and players don't want to be led anymore. That's an issue, and I think that's part of the issue at Tottenham. We'll move on, but I mean, really, really unfortunate for them. Okay, next match: Brighton Aston Villa snore fest 0-0. Like you said, Brighton has been able to keep 5 of their last 6 clean sheets. Very impressive.
I don't know how Brighton didn't win this game. They have 26 shots, 9 on target, dominate possession, excuse me, and they held Aston Villa to only 1 shot on target. It just really shows how much what's the word? They don't have any talent up front. They don't have guys
Yeah,
consistently banging in goals, and they don't have the speed. They literally don't have speed
I
to get
know.
them into these positions where they're easier rather than having to create more complicated chances. I don't know what it is.
Solly March is probably their quickest player. Trossard maybe actually.
He's only got 2 on the season. I think Mupai's got 7. I think he leads it, and then like Gross in the middle, and this McAllister guy's looking decent in the center mid. Is he Swedish?
Yeah.
No, Argentinian. He's Argentinian. They
Oh
got him.
really?
He's pretty good.
Huh.
But I mean, he's new to the side, and they control games. Like every game, I think the last 4 games I watched to them, they control the game or they're in it like 50-50. They're never getting dominated.
Yeah.
And they're strong on set pieces too. Like Lewis Dunk is an absolute monster in the air. It kind of reminds me of Terry at times.
Yeah, he is very
But,
good.
but Aston Villa this game was just a shadow of what they usually are. I mean, they had their full strength lineup out there. There's no excuses they can make. Martinez stood on his head. He was my man of the match.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely crazy since he joined Aston Villa a few seasons ago. I mean, if he could play like this that whole time he was behind Czech and before that even, that would have been crazy. That would have been like a decade-long goalkeeper for Arsenal, but things didn't work out that way,
Yeah.
and he got the move he needed. But yeah, I was very surprised Brighton didn't get the 3 points here.
Yeah. It is actually, by the way, painful for me to see that we let go of Martinez because he was at Arsenal for actually quite some time. And he got even a couple starts and he looked good in the starts. It's kind of a
Yeah,
shame that we got rid of him, but I know I am glad to see him getting first team football somewhere and showing everybody that he is good. I'm happy for him.
I mean, hey, at least you're not Chelsea with Lukaku, Salah, De Bruyne, and like the list goes on. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Um yeah, there's not all that much to say about that. Villa disappointing. Okay, so moving on. Southampton 1, Wolves 2. Another just headache. Just absolute headache of a game.
I thought this game was going to be identical to the FA Cup game
I
earlier
know.
in the week because it started out the exact same. It started out with a Danny Ings goal. He hit it off a sweet volley. It was pretty sick.
Yep.
And then the game was kind of dull for most of the time. And then late in the game, freaking Wolves get back into it. Headed the attack with Pedro Neto, got a goal and an assist.
Yeah.
Uh, on the fantasy app they credit him for the assist, but it was a penalty for Ruben Neves, but he got fouled in the box for it. So
Yeah.
yeah, Traore came in, did his thing, his oiled up arms. He uses that to his advantage, and
Dude, he actually can't shoot. Like he cannot
no,
shoot. Have you seen
no,
him try?
no, it's terrible, man.
It is horrendous. I don't know how you can look like that and be that sort of physical specimen and be unable to shoot the ball. It
He reminds me of somebody I played with in college, where he joined or my junior year. He was a all American country star, like he was a crazy track star,
Oh,
and
Ifa?
no, no, no. This is Pat. He's like a
Oh
year
yeah.
older than me. He was like a bulky guy, kind of built like Seth, but he was so fast. And Clark would put him at the right wing, and he would just burn guys down the line. But when it came to crossing the ball, dude, it was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
So that's what he reminds me of Traore. But
Yeah.
yeah, Wolves really needed these 3 points here. Got them up to 12th place, right behind Leeds. Get them out of that relegation battle zone, which Newcastle is leading the way in 17th. But Yeah, Wolves got revenge from the FA Cup, and moving forward, they need to carry this on because they've looked inconsistent the past 6 games.
Mhm. Yeah, I was a little surprised here. I thought Southampton would get the win, but Wolves wanted it more, and that was really all there was. They had more shots on target, but ultimately, the game was fairly close.
I mean,
What's up?
Southampton. I was going to say Southampton have lost their last 6 straight games in the league
Yeah,
and
they are
haven't.
in
They
putrid
haven't,
form.
and their last win was against Sheffield back in December.
Yeah.
So they really got to figure something out soon.
It's crazy to think that we're halfway through February now, too. The year is moving quickly. Moving on, West Brom 1, Man United 1. Pitiful, putrid, of course. United
Just say
are
it. Just
are
say what you and just say
are
it.
are frauds. They're frauds. I know. What did we say here? We said United would win, right?
Yeah, but
But
I
they're
don't know if this
fraudulent.
was. I don't know if this was the game. It was about Fulham. We were talking about Fulham, like the funny feeling.
Yeah. Hold on. You can talk about this. I have to take something into the other room. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah. Uh, yeah, Man United dropping these points here was massive. Literally from the jump, the first minute, the new signing, Diagna, I can't even pronounce it. Their new signing up front, the striker. First minute cross in, takes advantage of Lindelof. He's got a bigger body than Lindelof. Cuts right in front of him, nods it right past De Gea, and you're thinking, holy shit, West Brom might actually get some points out of this game like they did against City earlier in the year in a 1-1 draw. And I mean, it was United's strongest 11, you could say, without Pogba in there. You got Fred and McTominay holding it down in front of the center backs. You got Fernandez up there at cam, and then you have Rashford out there on the wing. Big Sam put together the team well, and it just worked out for him for once. They only give up one goal against a United team where they're conceding. West Brom have now conceded 55 goals this season, and they're only allowing one to a United team in second place. Is pretty good for Big Sam. The 1 point only gets them up to up to 13 on the year. Still, they're looking like they're gonna get dropped. West Brom is 100% gonna get relegated this season. There's nothing they can do about it, even with all these new signings. It's just when they get that lead, they hunker down, and it never comes out for them in the end. It always comes to where they drop the points.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm back. Brad's like fucking. My brother's like running around the room because I don't know.
Yeah.
Trying to print something because the printer's next to me over here. If you're
Yeah.
watching the video, he's like running around my room. Where's the printer paper, bro? I don't know where the fucking printer paper is. What are you printing shit for? We're an online school. No, he has a deadline. I get it, but um, I have nothing to say other than United are frauds. I can't believe that I ever bet on them. I just can't believe it. They aren't good. They are not good. They overperform all the time. They are just not good. Rashford is literally a ghost. He just doesn't exist. And if Bruno doesn't assist a goal or score a goal, nothing's happening. McTominay is the only other player that I even have any sort of respect for.
Mhm.
I hate these United players, dude. I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, dude. We grew up in an era where United was so good and so talented. There's a caliber that is expected, and you are literally letting one Portuguese man carry the banner for your entire club. If you're a United fan, you should be ashamed of the way the club is run. It's gross.
I mean, there was another Portuguese man that led the club, but he had a nice supporting cast with
Well, I mean, that's the
Rooney and
thing.
Tevez and Berbatov. He had
Like,
guys that, in case he didn't perform, they would step up. And when Bruno doesn't perform, you don't know if the other guys are gonna be there for him.
well, that's the thing you do know because they aren't going to. When Bruno doesn't at least perform and put in a shift, they very rarely pick up the slack. He's in every team they play. He's in every single version of the squad. He has to be because he's the only source of creativity, the only source of magic, the only source of just caring, and nobody else cares. You know?
Yeah, he's been on the score sheet the last 3 weeks. So
He's
see if he can
amazing.
make it 4.
I can't believe it. When he came in last season, even you saw it. Like he saved their season. He brought them, back.
Mhm.
They would have finished in a horrible place, but Bruno is as whatever. I don't know what they paid for him. I don't remember, but fuck, dude, it was good business.
I mean, for what he's providing now, whatever it was worth is it definitely was.
He was worth 150. I know they didn't pay that, but like he's the
He would go for that now.
oh easily. Yeah, it's not even a question. Um, so sorry, Zach. I know you're a United fan. I have a lot of fans that are United, or I have a lot of friends that are United fans.
He's a
Um,
United fan, but he hates watching them because he knows that they'll disappoint him.
well, that's how we all feel, though, isn't it? I mean, I
I love
know
watching Chelsea right now.
I enjoy watching Arsenal right now, but earlier this season it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, like we're both teams are in decent form. Chelsea more like we haven't lost under Tuchel yet. I know it's going to come sooner or later, but
Yeah,
the way they're playing now I mean, I keep saying it reminds me of when Antonio Conte came in. It's like the similar style and format.
yeah. Okay, so we'll move on from that horrible affair, onto a much happier occasion. Arsenal 4, Leeds 2. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought Leeds would maybe get one here early, um, and try and pile them on, and that's where Arsenal would be able to come back. But it was actually Arsenal that struck first. In the 13th, Pierre-Emerick scored his first. In the 41st, he added a penalty. And the 47th, he added a third. Hector Bellerin scored in between. So all but one goal for Arsenal came in the first half. It was a strong first half, especially for Aubameyang, who looked happy for once on the pitch. It's rare that I see him happy and performing. He was gone for a few weeks. His mother was ill, so I think the support that he got from the Arsenal staff and fans really pleased him. I could tell that it did because he was very thankful on social media. And I think he was really looking to get out there and give them a performance. So I was happy to see that. Um, the Bellerin goal was fine. But they did fall flat a bit in the second half. They let Leeds add to. Pascal Strujic scored in the 58th, and Helder Costa, who I think you have in fantasy, scored in the 69th. But Arsenal dominated this game.
Yeah, Aubameyang, his last 2 starts, he scored 5 goals. He made 2 other substitute appearances in that time. Yeah, he's scoring, but it's not consistent. You need him to score at least 1 every 2 games, and for you guys to climb the table, because we were saying earlier with Saka, you need more guys to support. Just so if one guy doesn't, the other ones are there to cover. So yeah, it's great to see Aubameyang do that. With Leeds scoring later in the game, that just came to fitness. The style that Leeds plays man to man, going 100 miles an hour. It's very hard to hold them to 0 goals, which is a big feat in itself. But yeah, 4-2. They always have a shaky defense. You know, if one goes in early, it's going to get piled on. Yeah, and it was great to see this type of result compared to the last time they played in a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, moving forward, this is great for Arsenal going into a huge match against City.
It's really
They're really
good. Yeah.
they're really going to need to get at least 2 to 3 goals on the board if they want to keep up with City.
hmm And I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a barn burner. I do think that Arsenal are going to be able to peel that City defense back, especially if we have a full strength squad. Um, if we don't
I
have a full strength squad, we are losing.
I think the match is going to be won or lost in the midfield because a lot of the
Yeah,
times the ball's getting whipped out to the wings for City, and it's little cutbacks to Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, who then have pockets of space top of the box when the center backs are a couple yards deep, and so they can take guys one on one. I think that's really where it's going to be won due to how Xhaka and Partey's positioning is, or if Caballos is in there.
I'm
It's really going to
hoping
come down to
Partey's
those
in it.
guys. I think
Yeah,
him not playing in this game was showing a sign that he's going to get rested for that.
I hope that he's in the City game because we need him desperately. Um, that's where the game is won and lost. Truly, is his presence in the midfield. And he does provide service to the guys up top, and they play a lot better when he's on the pitch, and that's been evidenced in our results all season. I'm
Mhm.
hoping he's there, and I'm looking forward to the matchup this weekend against City. I think if there's a team actually right now in the league that can knock City off on some bizarre, weird technicality or some strange goal, that it is probably either Arsenal or United. So we shall
Yeah,
see.
I was gonna ask you that. I was thinking about that point with Mikel getting tutored under or being coached under Pep's wing for a couple years at that
Mhm.
city. He was on the staff. Do you think that's an advantage that he has over a lot of managers, knowing the system and the style that Pep plays? Do you think he takes any advantage from that?
I do think that's an advantage. However, I do also want to take into consideration the fact that Pep has since brought in a new head coach who has taken, or not head coach, but you know what I mean, assistant coach,
Assistant. Yeah.
who has who has taken the role that Mikel did, and Pep and he are very good friends and are in constant correspondence with each other about the way that the team is playing. I heard this earlier on a couple from two different sources actually, two podcasts. They're boys, Pep and this new guy. I forget his name, Spanish guy.
Was
Um,
he on his old Barca staff?
I think so. Yeah, and he's kind of, you know how there's a manager to manage the players. This guy is a manager to manage the manager. And back in the day, successful managers, especially Sir Alex Ferguson, had friends and assistant coaches that played that role for him.
Hmm.
And I think that the team and the dynamic has changed since this guy came in mid October. So I don't know how much Mikel will benefit from that, but I do think that, of course, there's an undeniable benefit in knowing the system, knowing the way that Pep manages, and I think that you may see um, you may see a tactical battle here.
Yeah, I know exactly where I'm putting my money this week on the game.
Me too. Okay, moving on. Everton nil, Fulham 2.
I
We
fucking
picked
hate
this one.
Everton.
They're just, you never know with them. Sometimes they're so flat, and other times they are so brilliant. There is
I thought
no predicting this.
I said on last week's show that I liked Everton and everything. After this second match against City, bro,
Yeah,
I'm done with them, bro. I can't. I literally can't with them anymore. They don't have speed. Like I
I
keep saying,
know.
like they don't have speed. The last two games they didn't have DCL and Richarlison was up there, and he got exposed, bro. He cannot play by himself
No, he
up
can't.
top,
He needs a partner.
and they didn't even play Hamas in the City game.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
Everton are disappointing.
But they somehow stay in these games.
It's defense.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it is, and a relatively strong midfield.
I have them on the same level right now as like a Brighton. Like they're structurally good, and when it comes to building out of the back, it's like they can't connect more than three passes before something's intercepted, or they have to just boot it long.
Well, they rely so much on Allen. I think that's part of why their structure is so
Yeah,
good. That's
I
what it
completely
is.
forgot he's not there because they've been playing fucking Gomez and
Mhm.
Tom Davies,
Yep.
and like those two weren't there at the start because you had Decory in there and they pushed Thomas in there at times,
Yep.
and Sigurdsson has been having a bigger role the past 2 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've had injury issues and guys playing out of position. So there's a lot of things going on. But yeah, I'm done with them.
I kind of am with you here. Scott Parker, who we've been, singing his praise, pulled it off here. Josh Maja, 48th and 65th were when he scored his two goals. Great performance for the young lad. And I mean, Ancelotti's got to be just mauling at this. Losing to Fulham? Getting out coached by some random English guy? Come on, man. I understand that Everton have injuries, but it's not like their lineup is that bad. I mean, you have James being pushed up top, arguably not the best. I don't necessarily think you want to you want to pair slow with slow. And Sigurdsson in like a center attacking mid role, kind of weird. I think that there was other options here.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know why they didn't start Josh King. He's very pacey guy up
right.
top,
Well, that's the thing.
and play Richarlison off as like a supporting winger role.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I totally forgot that they got Josh King, and then I listened to the Two Robbies podcast, and they were talking like they were like, I don't know why Ancelotti didn't put Josh King in. I wonder if he's if he's fit or anything, because you really haven't seen him even on the team sheets at all. So I don't
Yeah, he
know.
usually comes in as like a 10, 15 minutes sub at the end, but I mean, you bring him in at deadline day and you don't play him as much. Maybe he's getting used to the system. Maybe, like you said, he's not match fit. Whatever it is, he's gonna have to get a bigger role, especially if Calvert-Lewin's not in there, because Richarlison can't do it. We've seen the last 2, 3 games that he just does not do well up there.
Yeah, he's just not. He
Can't
can't
hold the
play by
ball up.
himself. Right, exactly. So great result for Fulham, playing kind of out of their socks. Honestly, I thought they looked pretty good here,
Hmm.
but don't want to take that away from them. Don't want to say that they're overperforming, because I do think that they're capable of getting some good results. They do have Ademola Lookman, they have Lamina, and they also have Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And I'm a fan of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think he's a good player. I think he's a player of a certain quality. Areola, great keeper. I think that this Fulham team, I thought earlier on the season that maybe they could stay up. And, if they keep things together, if they're beating teams like Everton, then they could probably beat teams that are in the mid-table. They should be capable of beating a Southampton. They should be
Yeah,
capable of beating a Burnley. So we'll have to see, but this is a really good result for them.
yeah. Their next 2 games look pretty good too. They come up against Sheffield this week, and then they play Crystal Palace team. So if they win both of those, puts them at 25 points and probably right behind Newcastle there. So
Yeah,
they have a shot.
indeed they do. Um, I lost my place. Oh, West Ham. West Ham 3, Sheffield 0. This game went as we had expected.
Yeah.
I thought Suchek would be out, but he wasn't. Did that get overturned?
Yeah, it was directly overturned the next day because he played in the Newcastle game before this game.
Okay,
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
So only one goal came in the first half. A Declan Rice penalty is what put West Ham up initially. The second, Issa Diop scored one in the 58th, and then in the dying embers of the game, 96th, Ryan Fredericks added a third. There's not all that much to say about this game. Sheffield didn't look good. They looked rather flat. Um,
Yeah, they picked up a big injury to Johnny Egan in the back, one of their best center defenders. So Phil Jagielka, the 38-year-old vet, is going to have to play a lot more.
he's
And
38.
yeah, man. I
Brutal.
remember like he scored in the Merseyside derby in like '09, like a 96
Yep,
minute screamer off the bar.
I remember that.
But back to this game. What did you think of the Rice penalty? Because initially Jesse Lingard grabbed the ball and was getting ready to set it up, but Rice stepped in and took it away from him. What'd you think of that move?
Well, it's a little unfortunate. I don't necessarily like when a player steps in and takes the ball from another player, just in general. I do think Declan Rice is a mainstay in this team, so I understand it. I do understand it, but I don't like to see that. I was kind of cringing a little bit.
Do you
And
think it had anything to do with Lingard being brand new to the club?
yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I think that's all it is. I don't think it's that they don't have trust in Lingard or anything like that. I think that these players know that these that Lingard has quality, and that's evidenced by that performance he had just a few weeks ago now.
Mhm.
But I think that's all it comes down to. I don't think it's anything else than that. I don't think it's worth reading into other than that. Um, he just hasn't been at the club that long, and I know somebody that actually had Lingard to score, and and they hit right, so they picked over 2.5.
Yeah.
Lingard to score, and Fulham double result, halftime and full time, and that was the
Mhm.
only thing that missed because he got the penalty taken away from
Yeah.
him. That's brutal. That's a
Yeah.
tough way to lose a bet.
Another bet that didn't hit was like, the Prem Pick'em that NBC Sports runs,
Hmm.
like that the 50K thing.
Yeah,
The guy had 3 of the 5 games going into this. This was the fourth of the fifth. He had Chelsea winning 2-0, which hit.
yeah,
But he had West Ham winning this game 2-0, and Ryan Frederick scored in the 96th minute to cock him.
horrible, dude. I would be
Cock-
sick.
He cocked him for 50 grand.
That's
Unreal.
brutal. Did he get the other one right?
The Chelsea game, yeah.
Oh,
I
pain.
saw I saw he bet that, and then I put money on Chelsea to win 2-0, and it hit. And then when I listened back to last week's episode that we recorded, I said Chelsea would win 2-0 too. So I
Well,
was
there you
there from
go.
the get-go, man.
Let's go. Speaking of Chelsea winning 2-0, Chelsea 2, Newcastle 0. Olivier Giroud, I mean, at this point, just rubbing it in. Scored in the 31st. Timo Werner ended his goal drought and added one in the 39th. That was his first Premier League goal in 100 days, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to see. It wasn't the prettiest, but a goal's a goal. Tammy Abraham did have a scary moment. His foot got caught under Lascelles,
Uh-huh.
and it was like a little ankle roll, but I don't think it's that serious. But I'd like to see Drew get another run in here. I want him to prove to Tuchel that he's the guy right now. I still don't trust Abraham. He's still a little goofy. I don't know what it is.
He's
Drew's,
awkward.
yeah, he's just awkward and trying to get used to the team and that where Drew's like more experienced and can work with these little guys. And like another thing is we're still having issues with consistent starters up front. He's starting to go with Mount and Werner, which is nice to see. Those guys are looking positive, but you're seeing other guys fall out of favor like Pulisic and what's his name, Ziyech. Those guys are falling out, and I don't even know what he's going to do when Havertz comes back.
I have no idea what he's going to do with that either. That should be interesting. We shall see. But as we said earlier, Double T has not lost himself a game yet. So I'm really interested to see how long he can keep this unbeaten run going. Bringing in a new manager, you always get the new manager bounce. I think that's been established,
Yeah,
especially in the Premier League. But I don't think this is a new manager bounce thing. I think that he is a manager of serious quality. I think it was a great move. And I'm hoping that, his kind of reservedness, because he is reserved,
hmm
continues to work well for Chelsea because it wasn't working out under Frank. I don't think he was ready.
I think my most surprising thing that he's been doing is he's been going with Alonso
Yeah.
and Hudson-Odoi rather than James and Chilwell.
Yep.
Alonso in that wingback role is perfect,
Yeah.
where I think Chilwell does better in a four back,
Hmm.
and then same with James. I don't know what his wingback role kind of is because Hudson-Odoi is like just raw pace out there, and he can score. Where James is more of like a he'll control the ball and break up play, but I don't know how creative he is going forward.
Yeah. Obese
So
James.
it seems like those guys will get more time when we play the bigger teams,
Hmm.
when we play the Cities and the Liverpools and the Arsenals. Same with N'Golo Kante. He's put more trust in Jorginho and Kovacic in there. Jorginho holding, deep line playmaker, Kovacic box to box, driving runs in the middle and setting other guys up. Whereas N'Golo is like your bruiser. He breaks up the plays and just distributes it to the playmakers. So I think N'Golo we'll be seeing soon in these big upcoming games. Plus, he's been lacking fitness. He's been getting 20-minute runs, 20, 30-minute runs in the second half.
I mean, he's getting up there though in age, and he's a
Yeah,
grinder. He is
yeah.
just an aggressive player, and that
I
burns
think
you out. It's like driving your car hard.
yeah, he's 29, 30. There's
Yeah.
not many years left in his engine,
Yeah.
even though he's got a massive one. But honestly, if he's gonna play these other guys more, I think they really need to find his replacement and
They
then sell
do.
him on.
Yeah, I could see him maybe moving to France or something like that
He'll
and
he'll
finishing
definitely
his
go to.
career at a
I definitely
Lille.
see him going to PSG. He'll
Yeah,
definitely go there.
just like Matuidi did. Like
Yeah,
kind of one of those engine guys that can, break up play in the midfield. I think that's probably a good shout. Yeah. I could
he'll
see him
definitely want to go
moving to
back home.
France. Yeah. Okay. So that's the end of the match day 24 games. There was two makeup games, Everton Man City being the first and Burnley Fulham being the second. The Everton Man City game is actually part of match day 16, and that game ended 3-1 in favor of Manchester City. I think we both expected this.
Yeah, it was all the goals were crazy.
Yeah.
They were fucking nice, and then for Charleston's was just absolute pure ridiculousness. I don't know
Mhm.
how he just meant Digne hit a blast off the post and it just hit off for Charleston's thigh 2 yards out. He got lucky he was there.
Yeah.
Mares had the goal of the week for me.
Oh,
He
so
collected the ball
good.
out wide, took his guy a little shoulder drop and smashes it off the far post and in. Those class. That just shows that he's top notch and that guy can't even get a start every single week, and that's crazy.
Right. I mean, it really speaks to City's depth, but also just to, it's nice to witness that Mahrez really hasn't missed a beat, even in all this time that he hasn't been getting a start every week, or he's been struggling with fitness or injury or whatever. He truly, I don't think, has dipped much in quality since the Leicester days, and it's been a couple years now since that move. But when you see Mahrez at his best, he has not missed a step. He truly hasn't. His ceiling has not dropped whatsoever as he's aged, and he is a joy to watch. He truly is.
Yeah, he's one of the best one-on-one attackers I've
Yeah.
seen in the league for a while. He just absolutely eats people up. There was one move he had on, I think it was Holgate. He did a little stutter step and Holgate fell back on his heels and it opened up a gap for him to find a cross.
Mhm.
Just little things like that that give you half a yard to
Yeah,
create something is just elite level play.
he has such a vision for the game as well, and being able to use both feet so well on top of being so talented, in the way that he moves the ball, at his feet. He just does things and that most players cannot do, and it's like he has glue on his feet. It's so impressive, and it's great. I've always liked watching Mahrez play, especially back in the day when he was at Leicester. I mean, everyone rooted for Leicester because they were the underdog.
They still have a chance this year.
Yes, they do. They're in second now, aren't they?
They're tied for second,
Tied
but
for second.
United's got a better goal differential.
Okay. Yeah, because of that 9-0 thumping of Southampton. Yeah, Everton 3, Everton 1, City 3. It went the way that we thought it would. Foden scored, Mahrez scored, Silva scored. Bernardo Silva is also having a great season. Um, it was just pure domination here. There's really not much else to say about it. The second game, interesting. I did say that, Fulham should be capable of beating a team like Burnley. Of course, they didn't. 1-1 between the two teams. Ola Aina scored in the 49th, and then Ashley Barnes scored in the 52nd, and that was it. I mean, those were the two really sharp moments of focus in the game. Burnley registered 3 shots on target, and Fulham registered 3 shots on target. Both teams aren't in necessarily fantastic form. Kind of similar form, actually. A couple draws, a win, and a loss in both Burnley's and Fulham's last 5. And this was just kind of a stinker.
Yeah, I thought this was a fair result for both
Me
teams. I
too.
mean, Fulham, if they could have won this game, would have been huge. They'd only be 4 points outside the relegation zone. I think Newcastle should definitely get relegated the way they've been playing. Fulham definitely deserve to stay up more than them. They've played better ball as of lately, but yeah, two teams are level playing field. Like we said, Burnley are inconsistent with how often they can score, but they definitely can hold teams, whereas Fulham are more possession based and meticulous with their opportunities. So yeah, a 1-1 was a fair result. I think both of them can move forward with positive outlooks.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we're at just about an hour here for you, so we're gonna quickly run through our games here. First game actually of the week is tomorrow. Wolves take on Leeds United. I am certain that I will be on the Leeds train here. I think they bounce back after a disappointing performance against Arsenal, and I think Wolves are certainly mortal. They only beat Southampton 2-1. So I think Southampton are kind of a slobbery, slippery team right now, and they're not really playing all that well. So for Wolves to only win 2-1 there, not that impressive to me. I think Leeds blow them wide open at the back and trounce them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Giving up a goal to Southampton early like that, especially in the form they've been as of lately, is uh is very revealing. And Leeds are a team that, like we said, go man to man and just take advantage of their matchups. And I think they will have a big advantage here. They are away from home, but I think they do better away from home. So I'm gonna go with Leeds here, definitely.
Okay. Next game, Southampton Chelsea. I just spoke about Southampton. You know how I feel about them. I called them slobbery, I believe. I meant to say sloppy, but slobbery works too. I'm gonna take Chelsea here, straight up.
Yeah, with the form they're in right now, you can't bet against them.
Right.
I think Chelsea are the biggest favorites this week. Out of all the matchups, they're sitting at only minus 140 right now. It
Mhm.
must have changed, but still one of the big favorites this week.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I don't see a reason why not to pick them, especially with Southampton losing six straight games in the league.
yeah,
Uh, Hopefully we can hold Danny Ings to nothing. I think Rudiger's been playing really well as P back there, and Christensen's been getting the nod over Zuma, which is interesting, but it's been working, so I can't really talk shit about it.
yeah,
So yeah, I think Chelsea here definitely again. I'm still on the bandwagon of they can't score more than 2 goals, so I could definitely see this game finishing 2-1.
yep. Okay. Burnley West Brom's the next fixture. Regardless of who I pick, it's going to be wrong. So I'm going to say Burnley. I think Burnley win. I could
Uh,
totally see this being a draw, though. These are probably the two most defensive teams in the league. West Brom are not necessarily defensively strong, but they are defensive. That's just how they play. Burnley defensively strong. Not a ton of goals conceded there. That's how Dyche likes to play. And I can. It's hard for me to say to say draw, but
the last time these guys played was
I
back
don't
in
know.
October, and it
I'm
was
kind
a
of
0-0
laboring.
draw.
Yeah, I'll do draw again then. Draw.
Big Sam coming off a huge draw against United, now picking up points against them and City, which you never thought would have happened this year. Um, their new striker, I like him. It just depends on how much service they can get into him. And against a team like Burnley, Ben Mee is out with concussion protocol, so they will be without one of their best center backs. So I think they can take advantage of that. I do give the advantage to Burnley, though. I definitely think Burnley will have more chances.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't.
It's a hard one. I don't think I'm gonna labor over another one like this the whole
I'm
time.
gonna I'm gonna go with Burnley again. I think Burnley
Okay.
get the result here.
You'll probably be right then, and I'll have been wrong again because Burnley's involved. Okay. Liverpool take on Everton in the second Merseyside derby of the year. Kind of a hard one. Um, I don't think Liverpool can have another nightmare like they did against Leicester last week. Like we said, Everton kind of lack of sharpness. I don't know if DCL will be back or not. Because of that, I'm going to give Liverpool the edge, but I'm going to include the disclaimer that if DCL is back, I can see this Liverpool side losing to Everton.
Yeah, the last two matches between these two teams have been draws. The most recent one ending 2-2.
Mhm.
Charleston got a 90th minute red card. Going to be a fierce game. It's going to be won or lost in the midfield, I think. I think Thiago not playing in that Leicester game or starting in that Leicester game was a huge loss for them creatively going forward. He probably will start in this game, though. And uh, my gut instinct tells me to pick a draw because I don't know. I just think Everton in these big games always somehow stick around until the end. And like you said, if DCL's in this, anything can happen. But I'm going to go with Liverpool here. I think they can continue their form after that big Leipzig win. I think Salah and Mane starting to score again. I think they expose Everton for who they truly are. So I'm going to go with Liverpool.
Awesome. Okay. Next game is Fulham, Sheffield. For me, it's Fulham because I think Fulham had a great result last week. I think they look really sharp. And I think if they can get Maja in a good position again this week, that he could score again. And Sheffield, we know, are not scorers. And that's really all the justification I need.
Yeah, Sheffield, now that Burnley scored those 3 goals, are the least, or have scored the fewest goals, sitting on 15. They've given up 40, which is a good amount. Fulham only conceded 32, which the lowest out of the bottom three right now by a big margin. Um, both surprisingly, both only have 3 wins this season. Fulham sitting on 10 draws. I'm gonna go with a draw here.
Okay.
I just don't know what it is about Fulham. They just can't get these wins in these crucial games. They're just choke artists when it matters. So I'm gonna go with a draw.
Okay. Sounds good. Next match, West Ham Tottenham. This is kind of a tough one for me. I don't know where I sit. West Ham obviously in pretty good form. Tottenham in not so great form. Seem to be floundering a bit. Although Kane is back in full force here. So I think that this game could truly go either way. I don't see it ending as a draw. I think there will be a decisive winner. I don't necessarily know where I stand, though.
I mean, the last time these guys played, it ended in a 3-3 draw. That huge comeback from West Ham. They were
Yeah.
down 3-0. Lanzini scored the equalizer in the 94th minute with an absolute screamer.
Yep.
I think Mourinho bounces back here. I think Tottenham gets a big win against a West Ham side that sometimes don't show up in these games.
Yeah, it's
I
fair.
mean, they're right behind City, earning the most points after the turn of the new year. 19 points in their games since the beginning of the year, which is a good amount. And it's an early game on Sunday, so I think Tottenham are going to show up. I think Kane's going to pop off
Okay.
and really expose Craig Dawson back there for his speed.
I'm
So I'm
gonna
going to go with
go.
Spurs here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you there on Tottenham. I can see that happening as well. So I am with you. Next match, Aston Villa versus Leicester City. If Vardy plays in this game, I'm taking City. Villa looked absolutely impotent last week. I don't think that they're going to be back this week either. I think that they're going to have another shitty week before they can get back to their form. Um, I think Villa are pretenders too, and I think Leicester just have more quality. And as you know, just the return of Jamie Vardy, of Jamie Vardy last week, was so important for them, and he's such a talismanic player for them, and he's so talented. I think Leicester win this. This is it's definitely a hard one. I can see where maybe you would think draw, but
That's what I was thinking too, but I think Villa here at home get the win. I was saying at the beginning of the show, like Leicester starting to pop off, but I think Villa at home here, Dean Smith's going to get the guys up for it. I think Jack Grealish is going to open up those fullback roles now that James Justin is out for the year. They've been playing Pereira out there on the left and Amarty at right back, who naturally is a holding mid. So I think the speed of those guys on the wings is going to be useful for them, and I think Mings can hold up Vardy for the whole 90. So I'm gonna go with Villa here in an upset.
okay, cool. Next match of the week for me. Cannot wait. I'm backing
Yeah,
Arsenal. I am. I actually am backing Arsenal. I think they can undo it. Undo City. They're not
I was
going to, but I think they can.
see, like I was thinking the same thing. I'm on the Mikel thing with like the system and everything, and getting his players in the right roles. But you, for Arsenal to win this game, everybody is gonna have to do their role to
Yeah,
play their role to a T, and they cannot have any hiccups
I know.
because the smallest thing, City will take advantage of it, and they
Yep,
have lethal scores all over the field. Even you have Cancelo coming out of the defense who can hit absolute bangers.
I know.
So Arsenal are going to have to play the best game of their season to win this, and I think they can. I think this is the game that City's run ends. It's at the Emirates. It's going to be massive for Arsenal. If Arsenal can win this, they can put them even closer to those European spots. So this is going to be a massive win and a marquee win for them for this season.
I agree with you, and I think that's where I stand. I just think Arsenal are probably a great value too, betting, and
It's
I'm
great
sorry.
value, but I think there's a little piece of me that thinks I'm being delusional, but I'm still
Oh,
going
me too. I know I'm being delusional, but just hedge your bet then. That's all you have to do. Just
with
hedge
it.
it a little bit. You're good. Don't worry about it. Make sure that if Arsenal win, you win a little more, and if City win, then you win back what you bet on Arsenal.
Right.
Okay. Manchester United, Newcastle. I hate betting on United. I hate it. I absolutely hate it because I don't think that they're that good. I think they're fraudulent. But I'm gonna say United beat this Newcastle team. Newcastle are so flat, man. They are just horrendous.
Yeah,
Their best pairing in the midfield is fucking the Longstaff brothers.
you got John Joe and Hendricks in there as well, and their best guy going forward without Wilson right now until the beginning of April is Saint Maximin.
Right.
So I really like him, but he needs somebody to help him up there. He can't be alone.
Agreed.
And Ryan Fraser and Joelinton can't do the job. So
Yeah.
I have to go with United here 'cause I just do not see them even getting a draw.
Okay. We're in agreement then. Brighton, Crystal Palace, next one. Yikes, dude. Yikes.
Brighton have the worst record at home. I think they only have one win at home this season.
Every
And
time I bet on Palace, they suck.
I'm going with Brighton here. I have to. Just they're defensively so structured well, and they do extremely well against mid-table teams right now. It's just whether they can put the ball in the back of the net multiple times, and I don't know if they can. So I think Brighton win this in a close one, probably 1-0.
Okay, we're both Brighton supporters this week then. You seem to be Brighton's like biggest fan, so I'm just gonna ride with you.
They've been looking good.
I know. I mean, I was sucking Burnley for a couple weeks, dude.
Yeah.
Like the Premier League's one hell of a drug. It really is. And then there's a makeup game on February 23rd. That's match day 18 technically. We might as well just say what we have for our picks there. Leeds take on Southampton, and we've characterized Southampton as many things today. Good is not one of them. I think that Leeds can beat Wolves this week, and then just a few days later take on Southampton and win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Leeds as well. They've been the absolute shitter. They give up so many goals this past 2 months, man. It's insane, and
I know.
they just can't figure it out right now. Ralph's got to really dig deep to find. They have to go back to the basics. They need to hold teams get these clean sheets to get motivation,
Since beating
and
Liverpool, they've been horrible.
it's crazy. It's like a jinx.
I know. Yeah.
So yeah, I have to go with Leeds here. Leeds just look so good going forward, and I love Rafinha up there. He's so creative. He reminds me of Mars a little bit, just how
Yeah.
silky he is on the ball. So yeah, I have to go with Leeds.
Okay, cool. That concludes the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, as always, for listening to us. I think we provided you some excellent insight today, if I do say so myself. And I thank you all for watching. Please let us know if there is anything you'd like us to talk about or do. You can reach us at social media or reach us at social media. You can find us on social media at Post20Pod, Twitter, Instagram, whatever else you want to look for. And then obviously on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts is where our podcast can be found and listened to. So listen to us wherever you want. Share us with your friends. Talk to us on Twitter. That's where we are mostly. And take care, Matt. Is there anything else from you?
Note that rounded it off pretty good. Just see you guys next week.
Yep. All right. We'll see y'all. Take care.